What is going on, everybody? I am back today to discuss a film that was just released on VOD recently, and I think it's still showing in some theaters. And this is the newest film from legendary director, actor Clint Eastwood. And I believe Clint is in his early 90s now. I think he's like 92 or 93. And so the fact he's still putting out films, that's relatively impressive to take all that time to get behind the camera and direct a project. And I've heard mixed reviews about this. I've seen some people put a lot of praise forward on this movie. I've seen some people scrutinize it. But regardless, with the star-studded cast involved in this movie, I wanted to check it out for that reason. And also, I like crime thrillers. I like courtroom dramas. I always enjoy those types of movies. So the film I'm going to be discussing with you today is Juror Number 2. Juror Number 2 is directed by Clint Eastwood. While serving as a juror in a high-profile murder trial, family man Justin Kemp finds himself struggling with a serious moral dilemma, one he could use to sway the jury verdict and potentially convict or free the accused killer. So I was really excited to watch this movie. Like I said, there's been a ton of reviews for this, kind of all over the place. People that really love it, people that really hate it. And I would say this is an incredibly enjoyable film, but it's also incredibly flawed. I left being like, I really enjoyed my time. It was very suspenseful. There were a lot of really great moments and performances, but there were also some really bad performances. And there were also some moments that I kind of just rolled my eyes. And I'll talk about that when I break the movie down as a whole for you today. So in this movie, we are introduced to Justin Kemp, played by Nicholas Hoult. And he lives at home with his pregnant wife. They are expecting, and she is a high-risk pregnancy. And she's very nervous about it. And he's working his day-to-day life, and he is summoned for jury duty. And he gets to the courthouse. We find out through some scenes at the beginning of the movie that Nicholas Hoult's character is an alcoholic. He's been working on his sobriety, and he gets to this courtroom, and we find out that a man has been convicted of murdering his girlfriend. And the two of them were at this bar together. They got into an argument. They left, and they found her body the next day over the side of this bridge, and they think that it was blunt force trauma and that he tracked her down and murdered her. And so they go through the process of picking the jury. We get introduced to all of these different characters, and we find out early on that Nicholas Hoult's character was there the night of the murder. And he starts to question what happened, and we slowly start to learn what is his involvement in this. And the entirety of the film is Nicholas Hoult's character's knowledge can free or convict this man to go to jail for the rest of his life. And the entirety of the film is watching him make these decisions to sway the jury one way or another to attempt to get this man either freed or convicted. So like I said, very mixed bag for me. I did really enjoy myself watching the movie, and I'll talk about why right now. For starters, there are a lot of great performances in here. Nicholas Hoult is a talented actor. I feel like throughout his career, he's picked a variety of different projects, some better than others, but I do think he does a really nice job here. He has to go through a lot of emotional highs and lows, and especially when there's quiet moments with his characters, quiet contemplative moments. I think he does a really fantastic job. Toni Collette's in this movie. She is incredible as usual, even with the accent that she takes on. It doesn't matter what Toni Collette's in. It could be like the bottom of the barrel movie, and she is going to deliver a phenomenal performance. J.K. Simmons is in this. He does a really fantastic job. I feel like Chris Messina, who is in this movie, that's been in a ton of stuff over the years, he's very underrated, and I think he does a really phenomenal job in this movie as well. And so you get a ton of really fantastic performances from these actors who have been doing it for quite some time. As far as the cinematography is concerned, it looks really nice. There's not any really like spectacular shots, but for Clint Eastwood being 90 some years old, working with his cinematographer, he really creates a compelling film that's really easy for you to immerse yourself into, which is all you can really ask for with this type of crime drama. I also really like the use of sound and music in the movie. I feel like it's never overblown to sway you emotionally. It just really complements the movie and what Clint Eastwood is trying to go for here. And like I said, it's very suspenseful, keeps you on the edge of your seat, and that's what made it an entertaining experience. There are a lot of problems for this movie. Part of my issue is a lot of the people who are picked to act as the jury members, they feel like caricatures of people. And I've said this in multiple reviews before. This is a movie that's supposed to be grounded in some semblance of reality. This is real people trying to come to consensus on whether or not a person should go to jail for the rest of their life. And so many of these people feel like overblown exaggerations of human beings. And I get like you can utilize that for comedic purposes or to take the edge off one or two times, but when it feels like every person in that room is an exaggerated caricature, it makes it difficult to ground it in enough reality for you to feel it emotionally in a hard-hitting way. And it's obvious here that Clint Eastwood is trying to tackle some very serious subject matter when it comes to alcoholism and, you know, the struggle with alcohol abuse and the way your family perceives you, and utilizing this very intense experience of like this alcoholic contemplating, did I kill a person? It's trying to take a subject that people can understand, which is alcoholism, and blow it up to the most extreme degree. But when you have all of these ridiculous, overblown performances surrounding it, it makes it difficult for the emotion to pay off 100%. I also thought so much of this movie was like happenstance situations where the most convenient thing would occur for you to get to the next part of the movie, which also gets kind of tiresome after a while when there's not any really like intelligent motivations and it's just like thing happening after thing to get you to the next point. I just expected something a little bit more clever. I wanted a twist or a turn here or there, or a character sabotaging another character to really create a heavy gut punch that I just didn't feel like the film gave. It was suspenseful and it had its great moments, but like there were so many little moments where I was just wanting so much more. And the third act, Nicholas Hoult's motivation, it just kind of comes out of nowhere. You feel like it's building to a certain point and it just kind of shifts completely to where I'm like, okay, I can sort of get it, but I also don't understand why your character would take such a dramatic change when the entirety of the film you've been going in another direction completely. And the ending of the movie just felt so kind of goofy. Like the very last scene, I was like, okay, whatever. Like this isn't surprising whatsoever. And Toni Collette's character, she seems very intelligent and motivated, but there's so many moments where she's kind of like, huh? I didn't know that. That just, it's like, you're such an intelligent person. It's shown it throughout the entire movie. And the fact that you're caught off guard by this just seems kind of ridiculous. And so there are a lot of little moments like that that prevent the movie from being something great. Instead, it's just entertaining. I mean, it's an hour and 40, hour and 50 minutes, and I was compelled to the screen the entire time, despite the moments that I was rolling my eyes with some of the ridiculous dialogue. But regardless of that, I think for a guy in his 90s, Clint Eastwood did the best that he could with this movie. There's some social commentary that kind of made me roll my eyes that I'm like, yeah, this is coming from a 90-year-old. Like it doesn't all work perfectly, but I do think that it's an entertaining enough experience. And if you want to see what could possibly be one of Clint Eastwood's last movies of his career, it's worth checking out for that reason alone. So have you seen Juror #2? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was really entertaining despite its numerous amount of flaws. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.